Hi everyone, this is a tutorial of how do you install our project Untango locally so that it can help you ingest GitHub repositories and give you suggestions on how to run it efficiently. So when we come to the GitHub repository for Untango, the README file actually includes a detailed version of how to install it on your local device and how do you run it. For this video, I will be running through it quickly to show what do we need to take note of during this process. So the first step that we need to do is we need to clone this repository on your local device. So here we can just go to your bash and and sorry and and clone this, and this will be cloned on your local device. Next, and this is the most key step, what we need to do is we need to go onto the Google Cloud to get access to Vertex AI because that is sort of linked to our backend over here. So for my account, I have already created a service account, and I have went to the keys tab, which is here. And what we need to do is to create a new key. And in this case, we need to create a JSON key. And this key will be installed and will be downloaded to your downloads folder. Next, what we need to do is to open up an IDE of your choice. In my case, I prefer to use anti-gravity. And then we have to open up this repository that we have over here. Right. Here we need to change two things. The first thing is that we need to go to our downloads folder and get this key and put it into the root folder under Untangle. And we also need to take note that we need to change this to save the file as this name, so our backend runs properly. In this case, we just have to rename this. And this will be done. And the next thing we need to do is we need to come here and copy the project ID, which in this case is this project ID, and post file. And here we need to change this line, which is the Google Cloud project, to the same name. In my case, it has already been changed. And then we'll save the file. So at this point, we are all the way to here. So we have completed everything over here. So the backend is running properly now. What we need to do is simply just to start running this using the command over here. We need to build the Docker file. And the first time you run it, it's probably going to take 1 or 2 minutes, but it should be pretty fast. Okay. And next, we need to start the front end. So we just copy the code. So right now the front end started, so we can click open this link to have access to our front end over here. So this is our interface, and the first thing we need to do is to ingest a repository. So in this case, we click on this button, and in this case, let's just use a random repository that we have found, and then we can ingest it inside. Okay, so at this point, our repository has been successfully loaded inside, and you can see from the little green tick on the right. And then right now, there's two different functionalities that we can use. The first one is obviously the chatbot that you can see, and the other one is the automated runbook generator that tells you all the information you need to run this repository automatically without you having to prompt anything, which is on the top right corner, and we can just click into this. And after a minute, this should run and you can see all the information. For example, what is the purpose of this repository for reinforcement learning and what is the prerequisites over here. And you can see that, it probably requires GPU and that is critical for it. And then also the dependencies and setup guides all over here. Yeah. So let's say that, we experience an issue when we are using this repository. Um, and we want to ask a subsequent question. So let's say um, maybe something like VRM cannot be installed, right? So let us ask, I am facing an issue with transformers, and VLM in this record. How do I fix it? So as you can see, we have a lot of different tools that our chatbot is able to call upon. For example, we can read different files here that essentially we will start looking at the different information. We can also use RAG to get more information. And so, see, obviously, this is a very vague question, but essentially, our answer that we got is that, we need to probably have a certain version of VRM and certain version of transformer for them to work together. And these are like the installation order. And obviously, if you give more concrete questions, you'll be able to provide you with more concrete solutions, right? The key that we note here is that uh, our chatbot and including our runbook generator has access to our all our systems and all our dependencies at the back end. So this is why we are able to analyze what we need to change for our system specifically. And this is the biggest benefit of this compared to other um, other applications such as if you use Gemini or ChatGPT straight away. Yeah. So that's everything. Thank you so much, and feel free to try this application out.